Hey guys, it's Jay here again from Ther Arts, bringing you 3 more stories. Um, Please check out the description to find out more about how to get the book, and also check out my website, Ther Arts. Um, Hopefully, might be of interest to you. And thanks for watching. The first one is called the Smelly House. Once there was a house that was built. It was very special. It had a very thick and well-built roof, sturdy walls, and a fantastic basement that was an extra room for play or whatever. The house was admired by all that viewed it until the day of the hurricane. Now this hurricane was so powerful and destructive that it really gave the house a beating. It rattled the roof, filled the basement with water, tore at the walls until they weren't even sturdy anymore. After the house was hurt by the hurricane, it stayed empty for a while, and the house fell into disrepair. Little mice came to live in the house. The windows sat broken, and the floors became moldy and dark. Finally, a new owner came to take over the house and decided to fix it up. The new owner made the walls sturdy, fixed the roof so that it was very tight and thick, cleaned the water out of the basement, repaired the windows so that they sparkled in the sunlight. After the house was completely repaired, the new owner walked around the house and stopped suddenly. "Something in this house stinks," she muttered out loud. She tried cleaning the floors and the walls, but each day she would walk around the house and yell, "Something in this house, it's still rotten." Then she looked all over the house, but she couldn't find anything rotten. However, she was still convinced that the house smelled really bad. Surely if I invite other people in to visit my home, they're going to notice this awful smell, and then they will leave. They're going to wonder what kind of person would have a house that stinks so bad like this. So with each passing day, she became more and more upset. She called in special cleaning crews and inspectors, but no one else could smell the smell or find out where it might be coming from. This owner got more and more upset. She looked in the phone book and found one last cleaning company that guaranteed that they could clean anything, remove all smells. After being assured on the phone of their guarantee, the owner scheduled an appointment with this specialist. She came to the house, and the owner explained the problem and all the frustration she had experienced with the other cleaning crews. "They couldn't smell anything in here, and I know this house is rotten," she told the cleaning woman. "The smell must be deep within the house because no one but me can smell it." This woman was different from all the other cleaning people, and she understood what was happening. She sat the woman down and explained to her that she was a very special person. "You have abilities that are rather like ESP, extrasensory perception, but you are using this special skill to pull things out of the past. The smell that you are smelling is coming from a different time, a different place, like a different dimension. The smell is here and it's very real to you, but it's coming out of that different dimension, out of another time." The owner thought this woman must be crazy, but the more she talked, the more the owner understood what she was saying to her. This woman told her that during her sleep she would find a way to move from the past to the present and put the smell right back where it belongs. "I am not paying you until I find out if you're right," the owner told the woman as she walked out the door. "That's fine," the woman replied. "I know I'll soon have my money." The woman wasn't sure that she believed anything that this cleaning woman had told her, but that night during her sleep she did have a special dream which put the smell back into the past and pulled her into the present. The next day she woke up and immediately started to sniff around the house, but everything smelled fresh and clean. She spent the next few days smelling and sniffing everywhere, and all she noticed was it was a clean house, a redone house. Soon she began to realize the smell, indeed, it was gone. So gratefully she sent the cleaning woman her fee. And in no time at all, the owner filled the house with furniture and invited friends over, and very quickly it became known as a house that was full of love and friendship and laughter. All right. The next story that I'm going to share with you is called The Clumsy Stork. Once there was a stork who day after day flew through the sky to deliver babies. This stork had been delivering babies for many years, and he became bored with his job. This boredom caused him to become clumsy as he handled the little ones. He became so clumsy, in fact, that one fine day, as he was delivering a particularly beautiful baby, the stork let his mind wander, and whoops! He dropped the beautiful baby, not where he should have, but right smack into a garbage dump. Rather than looking around in such a smelly place, the clumsy stork shrugged his shoulders and said, "Oh well," and he flew away, just leaving the baby where it had fallen. As time went by, the confused stork became even more careless, and he made the same mistakes again and again, dropping more and more babies into piles of garbage. Thus these babies were forced to grow up surrounded by garbage. There was food to eat, but it was, after all, garbage food. As the children grew, they were usually covered with stinky, smelly stuff and dirty bugs, and rats would crawl through the garbage heap and bite the children until they were covered with painful sores. Worst of all, there was no one to help them heal or make them feel better. The rats made these children believe that they actually belonged in a garbage dump and that they could never leave, that they were garbage just like the place where they grew up. And so they grew older, unable to learn what most boys and girls learn when they are raised with love in a home where caring parents protect them and teach them. They came to believe that the garbage dump was really where they were supposed to be, even though deep inside they longed to be loved. One day a big garbage truck backed up where the children were and prepared to dump the trash. Suddenly some of the workers spotted the children hiding in the piles of garbage. The boys and girls began to run away in fear, but the garbage men were good and fast joggers, and soon they caught up with them. Taking pity on them, the workers set about finding the children some real homes. Before long, each child was in a warm and clean place, and their stomachs were filled with good, fresh food. The children felt warmed by the love that surrounded them in their new homes. But each child had been in the garbage dump for such a long time that something had happened inside of them. They couldn't get rid of their belief that they really were garbage and should be back among the filth and the bad smells and the rats. Because they believed that they were garbage, they were filled with sad feelings and angry feelings, and even some feelings that they couldn't even identify with words. Once they behaved like they still lived in the middle of the dump. Often they behaved like they still lived in the middle of the dump, wild and uncontrolled, where they let their feelings come out. When that happened, it scared them and everybody around them and caused pain that reached across many years, all because of a clumsy and careless stork. One winter evening, the children found themselves before the Christmas tree and looked at the twinkling lights and wished in their hearts that they could find a gift that would make them as happy as other children's. Just then, the star atop the tree began to glow brighter and brighter, and suddenly a beautiful fairy princess popped out of the star and landed before them. The children were both afraid and excited as they asked, "Who are you?" "I am a fairy. I've come to give you the gift of healing love." The children looked at each other in confusion, not understanding what she meant, but as she waved her beautiful magic wand, sparkling all the magical dust around the children, and the light and love washed away their belief that they were garbage. This fairy then gave each one of them a sparkling cut crystal heart, sprinkled with gold dust. Placing them next to the children's own hearts, with a wave of her magic wand, she explained that now they had the wisdom to love themselves, to love others, and to see the world in a true light. Then, as quickly as she came, she had disappeared. She was gone. The children sat in a moment in stunned amazement. Then each in turn began to experience new feelings. They felt themselves change as a great wave of love began to grow within them, spreading through their entire bodies. They cried tears of joy, and they began to hug each other, feeling the joy of sharing their love with others. And it was not long before their attitudes changed as well. They began to understand that they did not belong in the garbage dump along with the dirt and filth. They belonged where they were loved. The fear and ugly feelings and confusion were gone as well. The children discovered the magic of the fairy and allowed others to love them and help them understand what they wanted and needed from life. As time went by, all of the children grew in their own special ways to be the very best that they could be, loving and loved in return. And every year, the star that was renewed in their hearts was the joy that the fairy had helped them discover. And the last story for this video is The Kingdom by the Sea. Once there was a princess who lived in the kingdom by the sea. When she wanted to think or to daydream, she would go out in her little boat and she would ride the gentle waves of the bay. One day she was very upset about some changes that were taking place in the kingdom, so she went out in her little boat to think about them. The ruler in the west had commanded that certain changes had to be made in her kingdom, and she knew that when these changes took place, that things would never ever be the same in the kingdom by the sea. The princess was deep in thought and did not notice how far her boat had journeyed into the sea. She grew concerned as storm clouds approached and the waves of the sea grew higher and higher, tossing the little boat to and from. The princess had never before experienced anything like the storm. With all her strength, she held tight to the rudder of her little boat, trying to stay afloat and fighting the waves as best she could. Suddenly, a huge wave crashed against her little boat and tossed her into the sea. Down she sank beneath the water, deeper and deeper and deeper. As she floated down, the princess opened her eyes and saw a mermaid swimming toward her. The mermaid smiled a beautiful smile and gently touched the princess on her forehead. The princess took a deep breath and discovered, much to her surprise and delight, that she could now breathe under the water. Taking the princess by the hand, the mermaid led her down, 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 past the beautiful sea creatures, shells, and sea gardens. In the middle of the grandest of all the sea gardens was King Neptune's palace. It was so calm and beautiful there was a little princess. It was so calm and beautiful there that the little princess found it hard to remember that just above her was a terrible storm raging. Although this was a strange new world, the princess felt that she was safe from the storm and safe in the beautiful place. King Neptune himself greeted the princess and welcomed her to his kingdom. He said he had seen her, knew the storm had thrown her, and he would have someone teach her how to manage those storms. Her new friend, the mermaid, asked King Neptune if she could be the one to teach the princess. King Neptune granted the mermaid's request, and off the mermaid and the princess swam to an island beach where there were many waves and storms. The mermaid said to the princess, "It is very important to learn how to meet the waves and the storms." On her first try, the princess just stood and waited for the wave, and bop, it knocked her straight down. Over and over she rolled, and then she and the mermaid just laughed and laughed. When the next wave came, the princess learned that she must jump right in it. The mermaid showed her how to navigate a boat in the waves of the storm as well. The princess and the mermaid had a wonderful afternoon. She enjoyed walking along the beach together, practicing dealing with storms. The princess also picked up shells along the beach. She found a special one which was empty, and she turned to the mermaid and asked, "Where are the creatures who lived in these beautiful shells? Why would they leave such beautiful homes?" The mermaid answered, "The sea creature has gone into a new home. It outgrew that one, so it had to find another. The seashell is still beautiful. Keep it as a memory of our times together." The princess and the mermaid spent many days learning how to manage storms. Every day the princess spent in this special place was a new adventure. She soon lost all track of time. One day King Neptune asked the princess to come and talk with him. He said, "My friend, you are a most welcome guest here, and we enjoy your company immensely. But it's time for you to return to your home. You will always be a princess, and no one ever can take that away from you." The princess realized that she had learned much as she had played with her mermaid friend, and she had such a wonderful time with her that she didn't want to think about going back to the kingdom by the sea to deal with the storms and the changes which were taking place there. She told this to her mermaid friend, and the mermaid told her a very special secret about herself, a secret that gave her confidence and a sense of calm. Then the princess thanked King Neptune and his court for being so kind to her, and she and the little mermaid went back up to the bay in the kingdom by the sea. When they reached the shoreline, the princess turned to the mermaid and said, "Will I ever see you again? Will you be able to come and visit me? You are my friend, and I don't want to say goodbye to you." The little mermaid reminded the princess of the secret that they had shared, this very special secret, and promised, "I will always be a part of you because I am in your heart. When you want to think about me and recall our special bond, just look at the seashell you found." And with that, she dived under the waves. The princess went back to her kingdom, and she found as each day passed, her new skill at managing storms was very useful, and she could feel herself growing stronger and stronger. And whenever she needed to recall her friend, the mermaid, she looked at the beautiful shell of the sea and felt again that very special warmth inside of her. Thank you again for watching. This is Jay from Thera Arts, and hope you have a great day. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to send me an email and check out my website, theraarts.com. Thanks again.